What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Slashers and Superheroes. I'm Cameron. This is Jacob, and we have some Marvel news to talk about. I know it's actually pretty hype in my opinion, but we have the
four
Fantastic
years in the
Four.
making.
4 years in the making. We've
Yeah.
been we've been waiting for this, but four years later, we finally get the cast announced for the Fantastic Four. The entire, Fantastic Four movie as a whole gets a whole new rehaul, like new logo, new type of genre, and of course the cast getting announced. So we'll talk about that as we go on through the video. But let's just get into the nitty gritty. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So we have our main four, right?
hmm
So first, let's just talk about the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four has had three movies in total, or four movies in total. One back
Yeah.
in the '90s, and then they had the 2005 Fantastic Four, which is probably the
hmm
best casting Fantastic Four out of any of them.
Yeah.
Um,
But even then, that one's like not great.
yeah, it was
Like
good for its
watching.
time, but it didn't really age
hmm
well. And then
Yeah.
Rise of the Silver Surfer, which wasn't as good as the
hmm
'05 one. And then the Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan one, which we do not speak of. Literal dog water. So bad. Um,
Oh man.
and, you know, I think Jacob knows this. I'm a big fan of Doctor Doom. I think he is badass. He's probably
hmm
the one of the best Marvel villains, like hands down. Um, and they absolutely butchered Doom in the new Fantastic Four. He looked like a fucking computer. Okay, come to
Yeah.
life.
How'd
Um,
you how'd you feel about the old Fantastic Four, like the first one?
I
Not
thought
the '90s one, but the
I thought Doom
more like
was
the early
I
ones.
thought Doom was great in the
Okay.
'05. He looked just like the comics. They didn't change anything that was supposed to be changed, and the casting choice they did an okay job with. I think that
hmm
that Doctor Doom was intense enough to where we get a good Doctor Doom out of it. And so now we have the new Fantastic Four. So we have Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn,
hmm
and Ebon Moss Bachrach, who so Pedro, we all know Pedro Pascal, America's sweetheart. He's in basically everything. Fantastic actor, by the way.
hmm
Vanessa Kirby, I think she's a great choice as Sue. She's in the Mission Impossible film. She's in The Crown, which is a Netflix limited series thing,
hmm
on Netflix, a limited series. And then, of course, Joseph Quinn, Eddie Munson himself. He's also in A Quiet Place Day One, which is
Gladiator too.
another, and Gladiator 2 as well. Yeah, he's
hmm
in three blockbusters in within 2 years. So if that doesn't tell you what Hollywood thinks of him, there you go. And then Ebon Moss Bachrach, I might be messing his name up. I don't know, but he's in The Bear, which won a bunch of awards at the Emmys.
hmm
Um, and he was also in the Punisher TV show with John Bernthal. He was great in that. But you know, we get those four casting choices, and so I mean, I think they're good choices. I think Joseph Quinn has that Johnny Storm type of quirkiness to him. I think he can nail it. And Vanessa Kirby, she's great in everything I've seen her in. And
hmm
Pedro, I can't say enough about Pedro. Although I don't think he looks like Reed, I think he'll do a good job as Reed. And then Ebon
Yeah, that's
Moss.
like for me, like all across the board. I'm happy with it.
Hmm.
I like the casting. Um, Pedro Pascal is the only one that like he doesn't look like Reed Richards, but he's such a great actor, and he has yet to be in something that I've seen that he wasn't good.
Hmm.
Like Last of Us, great. Even Wonder Woman 1984 was he was good
Which,
in it, even though
well,
it was
yeah,
a bad movie.
it was a bad movie. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then Mandalorian, he's great in that.
Hmm.
So like obviously he's probably going to be really good.
Narcos, Game of Thrones.
Yep, yep.
He's just a good actor in general. So I think he can do it. I think he'll be a
hmm
good Reed. I think he'll bring that emotional intensity that he brings in almost everything he does. And we got a new logo. Now we have a new director. I think it before when it got announced, it was John Watts who did all the Spider-Man movies. He was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna take a bit of a break. So he pulled himself off the project, and then Matt Shackman, who did WandaVision, attached
Hmm.
himself to it, which I think is a good move. I mean, not to knock on John Watts, but you know, Matt Shackman brings that kind of retro feel, especially
Hmm.
for what they're going with. Um, and yeah, we get a new poster, we get a new logo. The logo is clean, by the way, and the poster looks really nice. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, so we got Pedro, we got Vanessa, we got Joseph, and we got Ebon. So none of them have been in any like studio like blockbuster action movies. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they can do. Um,
Hmm.
now, um, like you said, you're good with the casting. I think the casting is great as well, and this has been rumored for about a year and a half. These guys being, at least that these
Yeah,
guys have been
all four
rumored.
of these, like last year when there was like some names circling,
Hmm.
all four of these, their names were circling as like the group of possible being casted as a Fantastic Four. So I guess there was, those rumors were true that we got last year about all four of them.
Hmm. And I'm perfectly fine with it. Um, Now we know that Marvel has been losing a lot of steam lately. There's no denying that. Well, not lately,
Hmm.
probably ever since after Endgame. It's been a bit rough trying to gain any ground. We lost Iron Man, we lost Cap. Spider Man's having his own Sonyverse now, and um, Thor is not as good as he once was. Love and Thunder, Jesus Christ. So you're losing all these characters. They're not as interesting anymore. Some others, and you're trying to. We lost Black Panther. Black Widow's gone, and it's hard because you're losing all these original OG Avengers, and you're trying to build up new characters, and it's rough. So I have a question. So from your standpoint, I know I'm a Marvel fanboy, okay, but even I can admit that Marvel has some faults going on right now. But from your perspective, someone who is very low on Marvel right now, do you think that this movie with this cast can provide some rejuvenation? Because we're getting Deadpool in 5 months, and then we're gonna get this movie next year in July. So, do you think this, and along with Deadpool, will provide some spark to the MCU because it needs it?
Yeah, I do think so. Because both of these, we've seen movies from them before with Deadpool and Fantastic Four,
Hmm.
but we've never seen them in the MCU.
Hmm.
And Deadpool, this is a Fantastic Four center video, but real quick, like Deadpool is gonna be rated R. We haven't had a lot of rated R stuff with the MCU,
Hmm.
so that's gonna be different.
We had Echo, but really it wasn't rated R,
Yeah,
so we don't count that.
I don't really count that as rated R to be honest, but
No.
um, and then Fantastic Four, like we mentioned, it's gonna be set in the past, looking like the 1960s. That automatically makes it different because besides like WandaVision and some other stuff, we haven't had a lot of MCU stuff that's been set toward around that time period. So that automatically makes it stand out.
Well,
And then
the
we've never
first
seen a
Captain
Fantastic
America
Four.
was in World War during one of the World
Yeah.
Wars, and then Captain
Hmm.
Marvel was in the 80s. So we're
Hmm.
getting a time between that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like we haven't really seen a lot of 60s stuff. And then like I said, we've never seen the Fantastic Four in the MCU. We saw it in the mid 2000s in the 90s before there was an MCU, and then we saw Fan Four Stick, but at that time it was still a Fox property. So it automatically makes it different, and then it's a whole new cast. Like these people have never been in the MCU, so it's new blood. So I do think this and Deadpool are definitely going to help. They're going to have to. It's all about consistency for
Hmm.
me. Like they're going to have to. If these two movies are great and then everything else is meh, then we're talking about the same thing as like, well, Guardian's good, No Way Home is good, like this is good, like Loki season 2 is good, but everything else is kind of meh. So they're going to have to keep it going. But this definitely helps it if Deadpool and Fantastic Four are both good.
And it also helps that Deadpool's gonna be the only movie this year, and then Daredevil has been going through some rewrites. So and also with Blade, production for both of those have been going through some stuff, and so that means that MCU is like, yeah, we don't really like what we're seeing, so we're going to start over. So I, although that does cause some concern, I think it's also like, yeah, this is kind of crap, so we're going to fix this type deal. And you're also going to get Captain America Brave New World next year. You're going to get Fantastic Four next year. So, this new schedule that MCU is putting out, and Thunderbolts as well. So hopefully,
See,
this new
that's
schedule
what
that they're
I'm
putting out will help.
that's what I'm still a little bit confused about because Feige and some others at MCU and Marvel and everything and Disney are saying that they're going to cut back on the releases,
Hmm.
but Thunderbolts comes out 2025, right?
Hmm.
And then Fantastic Four.
Brave New World as well, and
Yep.
then I think you
That
get
that's three
Blade.
movies right there.
I think you get Blade in the late
That's
year.
four. So
Mm.
that's to me that's not really cutting back. That's about the same as what they were releasing and what has dug them into a hole.
I mean, they were doing
Like,
about 3 movies per year. I mean,
and then you got to think too. They're probably going to be releasing. They're not going to go the whole year. At least I don't think so. They're not going to go the whole year not releasing anything on Disney Plus, right? They're
yeah.
probably going to release like the Agatha show that's been talked about. So that's four movies plus shows. Like I don't know.
And you also got to
That's
take
what had me
into
a little bit
you
confused.
also got to take into account that, you know, around the Infinity War you know, era, you had Captain Marvel, Black Panther right before that. But then again, they weren't really doing shows at that time, so that kind of,
Mhm,
I mean, but still, 3 movies compared to 4 movies isn't really that big of a deal. But
mhm,
it also helps because like I've said, Deadpool's the only movie this year, so it gives them a full year to write all these shows out and film them
mhm,
and figure out, how to properly put them out on the big screen. So we'll see. But
mhm.
that's not Fantastic Four, I think, will provide some juice because again, like you said, fresh blood, new names, people we haven't really seen in the MCU. I mean, we've seen Ebon and the Punisher because I guess the Punisher is canon now. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't think Micro is gonna. That was his character name in the Punisher. I don't think Micro is gonna be a part of the MCU. So, I mean, if they do, they might recast him because Ebon's now the thing. So we'll see.
And I wanted to ask you this too because this is interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, Fantastic Four is now coming out in July. It's coming out 2 weeks apart from Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that hurts Fantastic Four? Do you think it hurts Superman Legacy? Do you think it helps both of them? Like that's interesting. That because it was going to come out in May, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
See, I think with that 2 week period, I don't think it's really gonna help hurt either of them because one week you'll see Fantastic Four and then you'll be like, oh, I got enough time to go see Superman now because now it was like with Barbie and Oppenheimer. They both released within the same week, and it was hard for people to go see both of them. But now, with them being 2 weeks apart, it gives them about a week to plan what they want to do. And okay, I'm gonna go see you know Fantastic Four this day, and I'm gonna take a week break, and then I feel good about going to the movies now, so I'm gonna go see Superman. But I think it's also Feige giving James Gunn the middle finger, like, ha, you left us, this is what you get, so type thing. But I don't
If
think
that is though, if that is though, then I don't know. If he really is, if that's the reason why, and he's like really is doing that, that's kind of petty to me because
I don't.
it's like it's not like James Gunn gave you a bunch of crap movies and then was like peace out. Like
No, I don't think. I think that's my meme lord talking. I don't think that's
okay,
what
okay,
is really happening. But it might be. It's the business, baby. You got to play it how you play it. Um, but I also want to bring something else up. I told Jacob before we started recording that I was going to go on a bit of a rant. Um,
yeah,
I need to talk about all those Joseph Quinn haters out there. Um, so I've been seeing a whole bunch of posts of Joseph Quinn being casted as Human Torch, right? And I see either one of two posts. So the first post I see is that, oh, this guy can't act and he's ugly. Okay. First off,
it was just the most Twitter thing. People hiding behind like ABIs, calling someone else ugly.
yeah, like first of all, are you in high school? Are you a high school bully? Are you the type of guy or person or girl, whatever, that, transcends typical high school stereotypes, like you stick gum onto people's shoulders? Do you still dump chocolate milk over their heads? Are you that type of person? Because that is literally the lamest thing you could ever say to anybody. You're ugly and you can't act. Grow up, please. And then the other one is that when the cast list got announced, people were like, "Oh, well, that was kind of lame how you did that." I'm like, "Dude, this cast has been rumored for a year at least. You want Marvel to be like, "Oh, live stream, we're going to announce the Fantastic Four cast." And then you join the live stream and they announce the cast, and you're going to be like, "Oh, we knew that already." Well, it's all about the pomp and circumstance about putting a live stream up. You've known this cast for a year. It makes no sense to me how social media reacts to things. And you're saying that he's going to be a bad Human Torch. Bitch, you haven't even seen test footage. You haven't even seen a trailer. They literally just got announced. The movie has not even been filmed yet. They have not been physically in the suit. They have not been physically on a Marvel facility or an MCU facility filming this movie yet. So if you're one of those people and you're watching this video, grow up, please. Wait for a trailer to come out. Wait for the movie to come out. Give them a chance. Give Joseph a chance. Joseph is a good actor. And I think what
Also, too,
Go ahead.
not to not to bash superhero movies, but it's not like Joseph Quinn's got to bring some like Killian Murphy and Oppenheimer type performance.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing like an arrogant, you know, he's playing Johnny Storm. It's not like he needs to be freaking Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant. Like, come on now.
Or Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like,
Yeah, like come on, man.
it makes no
Who do
sense to
that?
me.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. And the fact that, I think it's in part because why a lot of people hate, Joseph Quinn is because of the Eddie cultists out there. I get it. The Eddie fans are really annoying at times. They think that Eddie is God descending onto heaven, or descending from heaven onto earth itself. Uh, I get that. They're a bit annoying. We're big Stranger Things fans. We've seen that side. But at the same time, he has nothing to do with that. It's not like he has started his own Scientology cult. It's not like he has a whole bunch of Eddie fans within the palm of his hands doing his bidding. He's not doing any of that. So give the guy a break. Let him act and let him portray Johnny Storm how he's supposed to be portrayed. And I think that Joseph has that eccentric side. He's an eccentric type of actor. He can do it. He can nail this Johnny Storm
Well,
character.
also too, like we mentioned earlier when we are going over the cast. Um, he's going to be in Quiet Place Day One.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be in Gladiator Two.
Yeah.
He's been in Game of Thrones, Stranger Things. He's going to be in Fantastic Four. He's not landing these roles for nothing.
Right.
Like clearly the dude's talented.
Yeah.
If he's getting these roles,
Yeah.
because it's not just him that's auditioning for these roles.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if he's getting these roles, clearly he can act.
Yeah, and if those who have seen Stranger Things, I mean, yeah, Eddie was a bit of a weirdo, but if you watch Stranger Things and you saw his character progression, you would know how good of an actor he is. It just makes no sense to me, and it just boggles my mind how people react to certain things. But again, it's Twitter. Twitter's filled with a bunch of meatheads who have no
Well, I mean,
thought.
they did it with even though I don't really care for the movie, but they did it with Robert Pattinson
Right?
when he got the Batman role.
They did it with
They
Heath
do
Ledger
yeah.
as Joker. They did it with RDJ as Iron Man. Well, guess what? Robert Pattinson was a good Batman, in my opinion. Okay, RDJ was a fantastic Iron Man. You cannot cast anyone else as Iron Man after what RDJ did.
RDJ was arguably the best casting Marvel's ever had.
Yes,
With no
without a
doubt.
shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. And then Heath Ledger, he won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor as the Joker. The Joker, a fucking psycho killer. Okay, that's how good he was as the Joker. He had that distinct twist on the Joker that we had never seen before in any other superhero comic book film. Okay, so people have done it before. So you know what, Joseph? He's probably not hearing this, but I'm just gonna say this to him anyway. Go kill this shit and prove everybody wrong. That's my 2 cents on it. That's what I wanted to tell everybody, what my thoughts were, because I'm very passionate about this. I love the Fantastic Four. Okay,
Mhm.
mainly in part because of Doom. Okay, I think Doom is, again, the best Marvel villain ever. Galactus is right behind him. Galactus, the final boss. He's gonna be the final boss. But Doctor Doom is the
Is
best.
I would say is Doom who's gonna be the villain in this movie? Do we know yet?
We have no idea.
Okay. Okay.
I've been hearing rumors it was Galactus. I've been hearing rumors that it's been Doom. And I've heard that there was a casting for Galactus, and it is the most absurd casting choice for Galactus. Antonio Banderas, Puss in Boots himself, as Galactus. I'm like, are you kidding me? I really hope that's not true, because that will sour my entire feeling on Galactus. But
I heard it was Jack Black.
I'd
I'm
rather
just
take
kidding.
I'd rather take Poe over Puss in Boots as Galactus. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat worlds," type deal. So yeah, I mean, we the cast is great in my opinion. And those who are complaining already, just stop, please, just stop. I know that the MCU has been not all that great recently, and I can even admit that. But you really got to give it a chance. You really do. But those are my 2 cents. So. Anything else you want to add to this conversation? Have I
Uh,
have I
no.
touched on everything?
Yeah, I think we went over everything. I mean, we
Yeah.
went over the release date, the
Hmm.
casting, the poster,
Yeah.
your rant.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the direction that this is going overall. I really do, and I'm
Oh,
excited.
we did. So, did you see the? I wouldn't call it Easter egg, but in the poster, the thing. Did you see the magazine who's holding?
Yeah, it was Eisenhower, right?
I can't remember which president. Well, the mag. It's a real magazine
Yeah,
that
it's a
came
it's
out
a
in
Time magazine of Dwight Eisenhower, I
yeah, it
believe.
came out in '63.
Hmm.
So people are like, does this take place in late '63? Is it like early '64? Like it's definitely the '60s.
Yeah.
That's what it seems
Oh,
like.
and I
So
also want to touch on something else.
okay.
Maybe this explains where the Fantastic Four has been all this time, because we haven't seen any hint of them in the MCU at all. Like, not one bit. We haven't seen like a little cameo in the back. We haven't seen like the building that they are
Well,
in.
isn't this rumored? I think it's rumored
That's a
that
different universe. You think?
yeah, I think it's rumored that this is technically canon to the MCU, but it's going to be like its own singular movie. Like you're not going to get like cameos about the MCU characters type of thing.
I could see that too.
So yeah.
But it could also be a thing of like, yeah, the Fantastic Four. The reason why they get their powers is because they go into space and their test flight goes wrong. Maybe they
Hmm.
get lost in space, and that's why we don't see them. But then again, people like Captain Marvel and the Guardians would be able to find them, after traveling so many distance, miles throughout the space. Anyway,
Yeah, it makes sense that like if it takes place in the '60s, then pretty much, I mean, besides like Captain America, right?
mhm,
But like there's not a lot of most of the MCU heroes are not a thing yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean it's exciting. It's a good direction. I think the casting's great. The look, the retro feel, and it's got that Fallout look. I think it's great. So
Hmm.
yeah, those are our thoughts on the Fantastic Four and the casting and everything else. So, if you have thoughts on this particular subject, let us know down below. As always, engaging conversations would be very much appreciated. Um, but yeah, like and subscribe. The usual. Uh, I'm Cameron. This is Jacob, and we will see y'all on the next Slashers and Superheroes. Bye now.